वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Reading from Srimad Gita as it is, Chapter 2, entitled Content of the Gita Summarized, reading from texts 21 through 25. Text 21. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purushartha kam ghatayati hanti kam. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Text 22. Vasam sujenani yatha vihaya navani granati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Text 23. Nainam chandanti shastrani nainam dahati pavakaha na chainam kledayantyapo na shoshayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Text 24. Atvedyoyam adhayoyam akledyo shosya evacha nitya sarvagatasthano achalo ayam sanatana. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Text 25. Avyaktoyam achintyayam avikaryayam uchyate tasmad evam viditvainam nanushochitam arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Radhanath Swaminiti Namine. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta, Srimati Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine, Namacharya Padaya, Nitai Kripa Pradayane, Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Gramatarine, Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these verses that we read from text 21 through 25, Krishna is basically continuing on emphasizing the importance of the eternity of the soul, that how the body is distinguished from the soul. Text 21, Krishna is saying, O Partha, now there's a very important significance why Krishna is choosing to address Arjuna as Partha, especially in this context. He's saying that how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? So in this context, Krishna is calling Arjuna, addressing Arjuna as Partha, which means the son of Pritha. Pritha is one of the names of Kunti Devi. Now, Kunti actually, she got the name Kunti because we all know that, Pritha, Kunti Devi was actually the sister of Vasudeva. She's actually a cousin sister of Vasudeva, and because she is the cousin sister of Vasudeva, she is Krishna's aunt. Kunti Devi is Krishna's aunt. And because Maharaj Kunti Bhoj was one of the very close relatives of Maharaj Ugrasen, the father of Vasudeva. At that time, because this Kunti Bhoj Maharaj, he did not have any offspring of his own, so therefore he offered Pritha to this friend, and I think he was a relative also, maybe, I'm not really so sure, but I think it was a close relative as well, where I can confirm that, but offered Pritha to Maharaj Kunti Bhoj, and because Maharaj Kunti Bhoj adored and loved Pritha so much, he actually gave his own name, the father, foster father, gave his own name to the child, and he called her Kunti. So here, Krishna is addressing Partha, Arjuna as Partha, because he's saying that, Arjuna, you are the son of Pritha, who is my aunt. So Krishna indirectly is giving this hint to Arjuna that you are actually having my own bloodline. Or, Arjuna, you are not just Arjuna, you are actually the son of my very dear aunt. So we actually belong to the same dynasty, and when we belong to the same dynasty, I expect you to have this understanding that I already am, telling you. So Krishna is like giving the this kind of reasoning to Arjuna, saying that you belong to my lineage, Arjuna. You are not an ordinary person because you actually belong to my lineage. You're the son of Pritha. So therefore, these esoteric subject matters should be very easily understandable by you. So like this, that is the reason why Krishna is choosing to address Arjuna as Partha. So we should be very, very, these fine understandings are very, very critical here in the Bhagavad Gita. It just gives us a better understanding of the Bhagavad Gita, and also it establishes that what a beautiful connection Krishna has with Arjuna. He is not only Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. He is not only the greatest devotee of Krishna, but Arjuna is also Sakha of Krishna. Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. And also not just his Sakha, not just his Bhakta, but he is also from the same family, same Kula. So that is why here Krishna is choosing to address Arjuna as Partha. He's saying that, Arjuna, you shouldn't be giving me these crazy arguments. You should just agree with what I'm trying to tell you. You should agree with it. You should try to understand it logically. So agree with what I'm saying and understand this fact that, we are actually not this body, but we are spirit soul. And you should understand this fact. Why? Because we both are on the same side. We are supposed to be from the same, we are from the same family, so we should be on the same side. So with that hope, Krishna was addressing here Arjuna as Partha. So, and here Krishna is, in this particular verse, Krishna is offering Arjuna some jnana, some knowledge. And with this knowledge, he is trying to equip Arjuna with this knowledge that if you know for a fact that yes, the soul is indestructible, it is eternal, it is unborn, it is immutable, and it cannot be killed nor can it be destroyed. If you know this as a fact, to Arjuna, if you have this knowledge of the soul, then there's no problem for you to engage in any kind of warfare. So that is why Krishna is equipping Arjuna in this verse with lots of knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he is describing that why Arjuna should fight. It's a very interesting read, so I'll just read verbatim as Srila Prabhupada has written. It's very interesting, so please hear attentively. Prabhupada is writing that although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed, because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. So very beautiful analogy Srila Prabhupada gives here about the court, about the law, the court of law, that when the judge gives the verdict to the criminal, saying that yes, for the crimes that this criminal has committed, that he should be hanged to death, the judge actually does not get any karma, because he is just issuing the verdict. Although it is so much violent, but he is just being the via media of announcing for whatever karma that particular criminal has done, he is getting his resultant activity for that. So Prabhupada is explaining that when the judge is offering their verdict unbiasedly, not judges who are bribed away, not judges who are, who don't know how to do proper justice, not like that, but a proper judge, if he is offering the right kind of verdict, Srila Prabhupada says that they get no sinful reactions by giving that judgment or giving that verdict that yes, this criminal deserves such and such punishment. The judge is always free from any sinful reactions. And so is the executioner. The executioner who is acting on behalf of the judge in punishing that particular criminal, he also does not incur any kind of karma, because he is acting on the orders given by the judge. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada is making this very beautiful comparison that the judge here is Krishna. And Krishna is ordering the verdict. He is giving the verdict that the Kauravas need to get death sentence. And Arjuna, just like the executioner, he must come and carry out Krishna's command, Krishna's verdict, and that has no bad reactions. That kind of action will be, because it is on the order of Krishna, that it will incur no sinful reactions. So, Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan, this is a very, very beautiful point from this particular purport that we get by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And also, Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan, he is offering a little light to why Krishna is going to speak the next verse, text 22. That why did Krishna speak text 22? Because Krishna, he also not only would understand what Arjuna is actually speaking, but Krishna would speak based on understanding what Arjuna is thinking. Even when Arjuna would have a particular thought, Krishna would negate it. He would take care of that thought in his next verse. Krishna always does that. And what that thought is actually revealed by our glorious acharyas like Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Prabhupada just referred to his purports and translation to these two acharyas, Baladev Vidya Bhushan and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that according to Baladev Vidya Bhushan, that Arjuna at this time was thinking that, okay, Krishna granted that the soul does not die, but still the bodies of the men, who are called as Bhishma, Drona, all these others are going to be destroyed in the battle. So the bodies will be destroyed. So Arjuna is thinking that, but that is wrong, because it will improperly deprive them of the happiness that they derive from their bodies. So this is what Arjuna is thinking. So Krishna is explaining this thought of Arjuna, that it is not a logical thought at all, O Arjuna. Why? Because he gives the answer in the text 22. Krishna says that just as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So here Krishna is negating that very thought of Arjuna also. So Krishna is saying whether you choose to kill them now or whether you don't choose to kill them, they are bound to give up their bodies. Because that is a natural progression of the soul. That is a natural, the change in bodies is actually inevitable. So Arjuna, even if you refuse to fight, it will not protect Bhishma and Drona, because they will have to change their bodies. Some way or the other, they will change their bodies. So Arjuna's reasoning, his so-called logical reasoning is completely defeated herein by Krishna. And then Krishna goes on to explain in text 23 that, Arjuna might say, oh, I'm going to, destroy the bodies of my grandfather and my teacher with bows, and, sometimes there'll be Agni Astra, there'll be, this Astra, that Astra, so many ways. So Krishna is destroying that thought as well. Krishna is saying in text 23 that the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burnt by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So, Arjuna had all these weapons. He had the weapon of the wind, he had the weapon of the water, he had the weapon of fire, he had all these different kinds of weapons with him. So Krishna is assuring Arjuna that don't think, Arjuna, that the weapons that the arrows that you shoot towards them, that they are ever going to touch their soul. Their soul will just give up their body, which is like changing garments. Just like at the end of the day, when we come back home, we change our garments. We put on our night outfit. And then the old garments, we put them to wash. And then the next day again, we wear fresh garments. So like this, the changing of bodies is also like accepting new garments for the body, or for the soul. So Krishna is saying that don't worry that, your putting of arrows, your throwing of arrows is not really going to affect the soul of your teacher nor your grandfather. So don't be worried, O Arjuna, just fight. Text 24 goes on to explain the same point. It's saying that this individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is the same point that Krishna told in the past two verses. He's just combining all of them in text 24. And in text 25, he's again stressing by saying that it is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. So, all of these shlokas, they are just reiterating the same principle that Krishna has already established, that the soul is basically indestructible. That is the underlying principle, that you cannot destroy the soul. Only the body perishes, the soul is imperishable. So generally, sometimes people say, why is Krishna going on repeating the same thing? Why repeat? But repetition is considered proper in Sanskrit literature only when it is used for emphasizing a particular point. When we want to emphasize in Sanskrit, the same words are repeated again and again and yet again. Harer nama, harer namaiva kevalam. Kalo nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyata. So the very first line, harer nama, harer namaiva kevalam. Only the chanting of the holy name, only the chanting of the holy name, only the chanting of the holy name. That's what the first line means. Then the second line is saying, Nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyatha. That there is no other means of deliverance, no other means of deliverance, no other means of deliverance. The first and the second line basically mean the same thing. The very fact that you said that Harar Namaiva Kevalam, that there is no other way other than chanting of the holy names, it implies that there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way, but it is still said, that too with 3 times stressing of each of these words. Why? Just to emphasize the importance of this particular verse. To understand that this is so important, to emphasize the importance, it is repeated again and again. So Krishna is also repeating himself to remove all the doubts about the soul's eternality. That Arjuna should not have any doubt in his mind that, why is this happening? Why is Krishna saying all of this? So that to remove even an iota of doubt from the mind of Arjuna, Krishna is going on repeating about the nature of the indestructible soul. So with this, we'll end here. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji, very beautiful class, Mataji. Mataji, we know by reading the verse that, the soul is not going to die, soul is but practically when somebody leaves the body, it is very, very difficult to understand that situation. So how to yes, Mataji, saying where we can say that but in a real sense, if somebody is leaving, let's say our close family members are leaving the body, then it is very difficult. No, Mataji, just wanted to share that. Tell you, Mataji. I don't know how to put the question. How to take that.
I completely understand your question, Vinaya. I completely understand your question, which was answered by Arjuna himself in his action. After listening to the entire Bhagavad Gita, when at the end Krishna after Krishna spoke everything, then Arjuna, then Krishna said to Arjuna that I have given you the complete knowledge right now, O Arjuna. Now deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. So even at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna did not take away Arjuna's free will. He gave the choice to Arjuna that you can do whatever you wish to do, O Arjuna. And then Arjuna said, Karishye vachanam tava, that all my, nashta moha smriti labdha, that, all my, illusion and doubts, everything has been cleared out by you, O Krishna. And Karishye vachanam tava, that I will do whatever you have told me to do, so I will fight. And then Arjuna, starts fighting. Then in the middle of the battle, we all know how, with great injustice, that how Abhimanyu was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We know that. And when Arjuna found out about it, he came after, he came on after the day's work, when he came after the day's fight, when he came to his own tent, he saw that the dead body of his young son. Abhimanyu was just 19-year-old boy. How much had he lived even in the world? And that was, he was so dear to Krishna, he was so dear to Arjuna. He was a very, very dear son of Arjuna. Arjuna had many, many sons. But Abhimanyu is the one who was very dear because he belonged to Arjuna and Subhadra. Subhadra was a very dear wife of Arjuna, and somehow Abhimanyu, he was very much adored by even Krishna. So like this, Abhimanyu was very dear to Arjuna. And such a young boy, just 19-year-old boy, who had just gotten married, and his wife was pregnant, his young wife was pregnant, and he was killed so ruthlessly on the battle. So much injustice. He was killed on the battle. Then when Arjuna came and he saw his son's dead body, Arjuna was crying. He was crying so bitterly. He was just crying, and he was so sad at the demise of his son, at the death of his son. So everyone can now, the question can be asked that Arjuna understood the Bhagavad Gita so well, he understood that, everyone is spirit, soul and not body, then why he is crying? What kind of, student of Bhagavad Gita is he, that why is he crying? If he understands that, yes, we are the spirit, soul and not body, why is he crying? Srila Prabhupada answers this question and he says that Arjuna is the perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. There is no doubt about that. Because he didn't come and question Krishna. That Krishna, I followed everything you told me and still you took away my son. Why did you do this? He didn't come and question Krishna. He didn't come and blame Krishna that Krishna, look what happened. Because I followed what you said, you took away my son. He didn't come and blame Krishna. Nor did Arjuna say that, see Krishna, I followed what you said and now I don't have faith in what you are saying, therefore I will not fight anymore. He didn't say that. Rather, Arjuna fought with greater vigor the next day. With greater determination Arjuna fought, and he killed all those miscreants who had unjustifiedly killed Abhimanyu. There is some disturbance on the line.
Disturbance.
They want to mute their phones, please. So that's why Arjuna is the perfect disciple of the Bhagavad Gita. That although he was really devastated by the death of his son, but still that did not stop him from discharging his duty. That did not stop him from following the orders of Krishna. So similarly, yes, we do have an emotional connect with our dear loved ones. And if any of them, are in any kind of difficulty or if they're leaving their body, yes, it is perfectly all right to become emotional. It's perfectly all right. If we are becoming emotional, it does not mean that we are, not being proper devotees, but rather if we stop discharging our devotional services, if we start blaming Krishna, that Krishna, I am doing so much for you and what are you doing to me, if we start saying things like this, then that is wrong. But if we, there is nothing wrong in becoming sad when, any of our near and dear ones are afflicted by any kind of misery. There's nothing wrong in that. But that should not make us blame God, and that should not make us stop doing our devotional services. So that is the test. That yes, difficulties will come, but how much are we really, depending on Krishna and continuing on with our devotional service? That is what I'm able to hear. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, very nicely. Yes, go ahead.
Understand Mataji. Mataji, about the soul, how to relate with consciousness? Like, what's the consciousness of the, is the consciousness actually felt by the soul?
Very good question. So, consciousness is the symptom of the existence of the soul. Just like if you look out your window right now, you are in India, you will know that it is night time for you. Right?
Yes.
Did you go out and see if the sun is there?
No.
No, right? How do you know that the sun is not there?
Because it is dark, so there is no sun.
Correct. So, just like the sunlight is the symptom of the existence of the sun, similarly, consciousness is the symptom of the existence of the soul. So any non-living objects like table, chair, microphone, phone, all of this does not have consciousness. So therefore, soul is not present in anything non-living. But whenever there is something living, there is soul present over there. Because consciousness is the symptom of the existence of the soul. So the soul actually experiences everything in this world through the medium of the consciousness.
Okay, Mataji.
Very nice question, Bhargavi. Very nice question.
Thank you, Mataji. And when we take prasadam, are we taking for the body or are we taking for the soul, Mataji?
It's for both. It's for both. It is the food that we take in. The energy nourishes our body. It's like it keeps our body functioning, and because it is prasad, the spiritual potency of the food that we are eating affects our soul. It cures our soul from the cataract that it has, just like when we have a cataract in our vision, we cannot see clearly. So we undergo a surgery where our cataract is removed and then we can see things as it is. So similarly, the soul is having the cataract that it cannot see its own pure self. It is having a blurred vision. So therefore, when we take prasad, the spiritual potency of the prasadam, it helps in removing the cataract from the eyes of the soul, and then we can see things as it is. It has both.
Okay, Mataji. So it is always both. Like it is not that when you elevate to a higher platform, it is not for the body. Nothing like that.
No, even then it is for the body also, because the body needs to stay connected to the soul as long as, the body is useful. So to keep the body useful, we have to, feed it properly. So yes.
Yes, Mataji. So while taking also, we can take in that consciousness. It is for the body and it is for the soul, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We are just eating. For the body, we should see it as if, that we are just doing it for keeping our body and soul together, so that this body is the vessel with which we are offering our loving services to Krishna. So that's why we need to keep it healthy and nutritious.
Okay, Mataji. So, thank you, Mataji. And also, it is the same with Kirtan also, right? When we hear Kirtan, sometimes we feel very happy with the tune and the thing, and sometimes we feel happy internally because we feel like calling Krishna. So, there also it is both for the subtle mind and also for the soul.
Well, the kirtan, yes, like even the chanting is, or kirtan, they are directly affecting the soul. But we are chanting using our current body. We are chanting because of that. Even when we are chanting in kirtan, we are using our current body to hear. We are, doing kirtan or japa, we are using our body, and that is for the benefit of the soul that we are doing it.
Okay, Mataji. So when we feel happy after a Kirtan program or something, it was fun, it was very nice, I had a nice time. So such kind of attitude is correct or wrong, Mataji?
It's very good.
Okay.
It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah, why would it be bad, in the sense that if you are able to enjoy kirtan, that is the purpose of life. So that's
But if it is, okay, it's not in the platform of mind, if we just if it is in the platform of mind, enjoying a particular tune or something, is it okay, right? It's even still it touches the soul, right?
on the particular platform of the mind, that you're just enjoying the kirtan and the beautiful way of doing that. That's at least a start. It's not the final objective, because final objective is that we should get attached to the holy name. But if in the initial stages we are just attached to the tune and everything, and if we are appreciating the tune, very good, there's nothing wrong in that. But we should know that that is just the initial stage, that we should finally become attached to the holy name. Not
Yes.
just, but that's a good start.
Okay, Mataji. Yeah, got it, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, and it felt really nice hearing each and every point that you were making. I just had one question when you were talking about Arjuna's dilemma in the battlefield of his attachment and then his perfect understanding. This was running in my mind that with all due respects to Srila Prabhupada, in his Leelamrita, there's one point where it is mentioned that when Srila Prabhupada was not able to, I mean his family members were not able to help him in his Krishna consciousness. He was thanking Krishna that this is kind of encouraging him to get rid of all his material attachments. So in one sense I was wondering if sometimes at different points in time, we also experience this, that even our own family members or close relatives, they don't really behave in a way that is very favorable to our Krishna consciousness, or even to the point that everybody is being into their own world. Sometimes our attachment is not repaid back in the same level. So I was wondering if how to understand this point in Lilamrita, that is it better not to have attachment to our family members in such cases, or um, when we don't get proper reciprocation from them, is it okay to feel that it's anyway not going to help us in Krishna consciousness? Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very wonderful question, Nandini. That someone can mute their phones, please. There's some very strong background noise coming. Okay, it seems to have gone. Thank you. So yes, sometimes family, who are completely against our taking up Krishna consciousness, such family members, yes, must be given up. Attachments to such family members should definitely be given up. There should be no, arguments on that. That's what Srila Prabhupada did, and that's what we should do also. Yes, we should not have any attachment for them, but we should also act like Prahlad Maharaj, that who prayed for his non-devotional father. He prayed for his demoniac father. Forget devotional. He prayed for his demoniac father, that Nrsingadev should liberate his demoniac father. That's the heart of a devotee. So the heart of a devotee actually, they become very kind to everybody. That's how devotees are, very soft-hearted. So if our relatives are not devotees, then yes, at least have, like Srila Prabhupada, he did not maintain close relationship with his family, but with his youngest son, Vrindavan Dey, he maintained very good relationship, because his younger son was, very respectful towards him, and, and we can see how, by the mercy of Prabhupada, the younger son's family was actually very Krishna conscious. His younger son's daughter was a disciple of Jayapataka Maharaj, and he himself died a very wonderful devotee. So like this, there is not one given rule, but yes, the general underlying principle is that we should develop our attachment to Krishna and to his devotees. So if our relatives happen to be devotees, and if we are experiencing any kind of differences, like that, then there is some problem. If our relatives happen to be devotees, and if we are not getting along with our devotee relatives, then there is definitely some problem, and that needs to be addressed and taken care of. But if they are not devotees, then yes, in either cases, our attachment should be based on Krishna, and the fact that we should not have aversion to our non-devoted relatives. We should still pray for them. We should still, feed them prasad as much as possible, hoping that one day they become devotees. And if they are devotees, then there must be some other issues which, if possible, can be addressed with some other devotees, taking help of some other devotees. But if they are devotees, and if we are having problems with some of our relatives, then that definitely needs to be addressed, So I hope I'm able to give a general kind of a description on situations. I hope this
Yes,
answers
Mataji.
the question,
Yes,
Mataji.
that's definitely, that helps. Just that sometimes we are put into dilemma, and then we are actually obligated to do so many things to our relatives because we take help from them at different points. So I was wondering if we should give as much, as we are required to, because if we are not fully surrendered to Krishna, then we need to do our duties on our material platform also. So that's a fine balance, and the decision has to be taken, sometimes when we are in a dilemma. So
Right, right. And such decisions are best when it is taken with consultation with senior devotees. Then they can at least guide us to do whatever is right thing to do, So we are not just dependent on our own minds and, own thoughts of doing what we think is right. We should get it confirmed with some senior devotees whom we have some faith in. And because these are situations which are very specific, and how to act in those situations, we need the situations themselves, no? So therefore it's important that, we rely on the, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, basically.
yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining the call. It's wonderful to hear you after so long.
It's wonderful
Any
to hear
more
you
questions?
too, Mataji. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. This is Venkatapati from Hyderabad. Please actually Ambula base.
Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Prabhuji.
I have two questions, Mataji. One is, we see so many souls coming and they reside on earth. So just to understand the perspective, does it mean that so many souls are being fallen from the spiritual world and the population is increasing? That does mean that it is so bad that people are thinking, souls are thinking we should be away from Krishna? That's first question. Second question, you mentioned a devotee. I mean, we don't want to be sounding more fanatic in the sense that devotee means just one surrender to Krishna or just following Krishna instruction. So I have this question that should we actually define devotee means one is devoted to Krishna, or is it because in this world we know, at least in India, we have devotees all over. I mean, they pray to different demigods, different expansions of Vishnu as well, and they actually worship Vishnu and other demigods simultaneously. So when we come across them and we say, you're not, should we consider them as non-devotees? This is a confusion sometimes we come across. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So first, addressing your first question, where are all these souls coming from? Well, this is a very commonly asked question. So I'll just give you the commonly asked replied answer to this. Actually, Guru Maharaj gave a very beautiful answer to this, so I'll just respond what he said. He said that, the reason why we see so many human beings on this planet today is because this is a very special time. This Kali Yuga is a very special time because of Mahaprabhu's appearance. So there are many, because of the transmigration process, because there are microorganisms, there's so many living entities, and because there's so much Harinam going on in the universe, so all of these living entities, they are listening to Krishna Nam, so they are immediately getting human birth. And somehow or the other, the dogs, the cats, somehow if they're taking prasad, somehow or the other, by the mercy of some devotees, they are getting immediately elevated to the human form of life. And Guru Maharaj also said that devatas are actually standing in line to be born in the family of devotees. And so this time frame is actually very, very special, because this 10,000 years, this coming 10,000 years, is the golden period of Kali Yuga, where the devotion to Krishna is at its highest, and it comes only once in a millennium. It comes once. It just comes once. Because Mahaprabhu appears in 1,000 cycles of Brahma, in 1,000 cycles of the Yugas, in the 28th cycle of the 7th Manu, Mahaprabhu comes. And when Mahaprabhu comes, he brings with him this flood of Harinam. So everyone, is actually, fished out from this, they are fished out, with the Harinam, and they are actually given the opportunity of going back home, back to Godhead. So that is why we see so much population overflowing. That's one reason. So I hope that answers your question, the first question. And your second question, that if bhaktas, who is a bhakta or who is a Vaishnava? Vaishnava means devotees of Vishnu are called Vaishnavas. Bhakta means devotee. Now you can be a Shiva bhakta also. You can also be a Devi bhakta. You can be any of that. But bhakta means that it has to be out of love. It cannot be by any kind of, barter system. Like, I will give you this, I will offer this puja to you, you fulfill this desire of mine. Then it's like a shopkeeper kind of relationship, shopkeeper and customer, which is what is going on in the name of demigod worship. This is what is going on in today's day and age. Very few people truly love their ishtas when they are worshipping. They are only worshipping because they want to fulfill their selfish needs. So having said that, that is the definition of who is a Vaishnava and who is a Bhakta. So Vaishnava is always in connection to Vishnu Bhaktas, and Bhakta, yes, it is when it is out of genuine love. When you are really loving someone out of genuine love only, that is the definition of a Bhakta, of a devotee. Devotee means that you're devoted to them selflessly. You're devoted to them. Not because you want some desires to be fulfilled. So does this answer both your questions, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Last part, I wanted to clarify when you mentioned that a devotee means one who's devoted. So does that automatically mean one should be really devoted to one person or one personality or one demigod, even if they want to? So if they are devoted to several of them, is that still called as a devotee?
Well, they could be devoted to several of them, but if all of them have the same purpose, then that is perfectly fine. Like all of us are devoted to, we are devoted to our own Guru Vargas, we are devoted to Srila Prabhupada, we are devoted to the entire Guru Parampara, we are devoted to Krishna, we are devoted to Mahaprabhu, we are devoted to Nityananda Prabhu, so many. But all of them are in our line of the Parampara, you see. So we are devoted to all of them. But then if we are devoted to, say, Krishna, then we are devoted to, even to Ganesha, even if we are devoted to Kali, even if we are devoted to Lord Shiva, all of this is not called being devoted. Then there is some lack of knowledge. We can be devoted to even Lord Shiva if we know what is the position of Lord Shiva in connection to Krishna. We can be devoted to Kali if we know what is her position in connection to Krishna. You understand? So we need to know things as it is, not that have our own agendas fulfilled by saying that, oh yes, I'm devoted to everybody. But yes, being devoted to everybody, having the complete knowledge that yes, all the devatas are nothing but the servitors of Krishna. Skanda or Vinayaka, why he is known as Vignaharta is because he actually has Lord Nrsimhadev rest upon his head. His elephant head has the tulasi leaf. It has the tumulai leaf, on which Lord Nrsimhadev puts his lotus feet. So that is why Lord Ganesha is called as Vignaharta, the destroyer of obstacles. So if we have the proper kind of knowledge, and if we are devoted to all of them with this proper kind of understanding, then yes, it's perfect. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much. Anytime we ask questions, we get perfect answers. Thank you, Mataji.
Well, you ask perfect questions. So I am just repeating whatever I have heard, and that is perfect in itself, Prabhu. So thank you for your perfect questions. Thank you, Prabhu. Any more questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dvendu.
Hare Krishna, Indu.
Mataji, there's a lot of information here. I mean, you have talked a lot about the soul and everything. And all the devotees ask such beautiful questions. I mean, very relevant to me also. So I was just thinking about it. And is all of nature manifested by God? Was it all created by God? And if that's the case, is there a soul in everything around us, like in a blade of grass, in the trees, in the mountains, in the rocks? Is that a correct understanding, or?
A very good question. This very, very nice question. I'm very impressed with this question. Thank you so much for asking this. Yes, wherever we see life, that signifies the presence of the soul, and the soul is never alone. The soul is always accompanied by the super soul. So, in any living object, there is always the presence of the soul. So anything living, like the grass, the trees, these are all living. Forget animals, forget sea animals, forget fireflies, anything that moves, grows, anything that is living, it has the presence of the spirit soul in them. And along with the spirit soul, there is also the presence of the Paramatma. Along with Atma, there is Paramatma. There is the super soul. Having said this is in the case of living beings. Now, in the case of non-living beings, like you said about rocks and mountains, rivers, it is said that Krishna exists in even an atom. He is existing even in an atom, and in between the space between one atom and the other. So Krishna is there, like, it is very famously said in Hindi and Sanskrit. It said, "Prithvi ke kan kan mein Bhagwan samaye hai." I hope you understand Hindi, but that's the understanding, that in every atom, Krishna exists, God exists. So the Paramatma, the super soul, is actually existing in every atom also, and in between the space in every atom as well. So yes, in every non-living thing, there is the presence of God. There is the presence of the super soul. Krishna is present there, even in every non-living thing. Because Krishna is present in every atom. So this is the thing, that the non-living thing will not have the presence of the Atma, but it will have the presence of the Paramatma. But the living beings will have the presence of Atma as well as Paramatma. So does that answer your question?
Yes, Mataji. So even a table or chair or anything that man has created also has the super soul in it?
Yes, because Krishna is present in every atom.
Okay. How do we treat everything?
How do we treat? With utmost respect, as much as possible. Therefore, before we get out of bed every morning, we should have the understanding that we should actually do three things. We should offer obeisances to Dharti Mata, to Mother Earth, who is going to bear our weight for the entire day, whom we are going to walk on the entire day. The second thing we should do is offer obeisances to Anantashesh, because Anantashesh is holding up on his hoods, Anantashesh is holding up the planetary systems. So we are not only walking on Mother Earth, but we are walking on the hoods of Anantashesh. So we should offer obeisances to Anantashesh, begging forgiveness that we are about to step on you. Please forgive us. Begging forgiveness from Mother Earth, that please forgive us. And then we beg forgiveness from Krishna, that Krishna please, not beg forgiveness from Krishna. We actually beg Krishna that Krishna please allow me to remember you in every moment of my life today. Every moment of the day today, please allow me to remember you. So I wake up from bed every day by saying these 3 prayers. So it just puts us in the right kind of consciousness that, and we are begging Krishna that he allows us to remember him throughout the day, And then before sleeping, again do the same thing. Thank Mother Earth for bearing our weight for the entire day. Thank Anantashesh for bearing our weight for the entire day. And thank Krishna for how much ever he allowed us to remember him throughout the day. With this, chant Nrsimha prayer and go to sleep. Krishna will come in our dreams and play with us.
Mind-blowing answer, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the mind-blowing question. Thank you.